Hello and welcome. My name is Carol Carter and I'm the founder and CEO of Globalminded. We are dedicated to creating a capable, diverse talent pipeline to get more women, people of color, any way that you can define diversity into the education, economic mobility, and leadership pipeline. And we do that in a number of ways. One is through an annual conference, and that conference last year and this year, because of the pandemic, has been virtual. So this is our 10th week of programming, and this week really represents the culmination of all the other weeks because it's dedicated to all of the diverse and first generation of college students that we serve. So every day this week, there have been different sessions, programs for these students specifically. And so many of you in our summer programs this year and our leadership class are joining. So we're delighted to have you here. I'll also share that we do monthly equity events, and those are led by leaders of color. There are diverse people on every panel. There's one for technology, STEM, health professions, K-12, higher education, and foundations and funders. So every month, we hope that you'll join us for those. And then we have the newsletter that this session will be posted in tomorrow that's read by about 15,000 people a day. So we're delighted in whatever way you're joining us and look forward to a great session. And it's my pleasure to now introduce Rocio Perez, who is Globalminded's Director of Leadership. And for the last several years, she has been one of the key people, along with Melinda Kane and Adrian Rosado, who have provided the programming for our first gen leaders. So we thought it was apropos today for today's session of Where Are They Now, where you're going to meet some students who've been through our program from several years ago, for Rocio to be the person who can lead you in understanding how brilliant these people are and the really interesting things that they've gone on to do with their lives. But I'll also say that Rocio is just a great role model herself. She's got multiple master's degrees. She beat the odds to get herself into community college and then transfer to a four-year research university. And she is an entrepreneur. She has started a company called Inventiva Consulting, and she works with people all over the world. And she's a great leader. So we're really delighted to have her on our team all these years and delighted she can lead today. So Rocio, welcome, and welcome everyone.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you so much. It's such a kind of introduction. Very excited to be here with each and every one of you. I really want to acknowledge you for your contributions and everything that you're doing out in the world. And acknowledge also, Carol, the work of Globalminded, one of my favorite organizations. I love the fact that an organization like Globalminded exists to help people level the playing field and make extraordinary things of ourselves and have the support. The support, I think it's one of the most important things. When I started university, I didn't have that support. And the moment that I met Carol a number of years ago, I knew immediately, I said, this woman is doing amazing things to impact the lives of individuals, and I want to be part of this. And this is where I hung in there and love watching and supporting people like our first gen leaders live an extraordinary life and pay it forward. So I'm very privileged to know each and every one of you, and I'm looking forward for everybody to hear what you're up to today. And in starting with that, I'd like to start to know, I know that some of you have attended from 2015, from the inception of Globalminded and the conference. Tell us where you're at now and what are some of your goals, and then we'll go into questions. So we'll go ahead and start with Betty, go over to Connor, Amelia, and then Nima, in that order.
Thank you. So as you know, my name is Betty, and I was part of the 2019 Global-Minded Leadership class. Last month, I just graduated from the George Washington University, and in September, I'll start my full-time job at KPMG. My professional goals at the moment, like the short-term one, is probably just to do well, like my first year working. And then after that, it would probably be to get into a really good master's program.
Wonderful, thank you.
Awesome, and thank you, Rocio, for bringing us in. Thank you, Carol, for bringing us all together. I was also a part of the class of 2019. I was brought to the conference through Adrian, who was mentioned earlier, working with him, and that was a wonderful experience. But currently I work at Indiana University as a graduate supervisor for our housing here. I supervise a staff of resident assistants and a community educator, and serve about 2,000 students while I'm getting my master's of social work. And then in goal, I think after I graduate, I want to pursue some sort of degree in politics or work in politics.
Thank you.
Very nice. I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Carol and Rocio, for including me in this panel. My name is Amelia Mawlawi, and I'll date myself a little bit. I was a part of the 2015 inception year of Globalminded, and I'm thrilled to be back. Globalminded is really critical. I've seen it be very successful within myself as well as my younger siblings, who I pushed into Carol and made them join. But I work at HP. I am a global product planner for one of our flagship series, with one of the highest volumes that HP ships year round. And professionally, my end goal has always been to be a people manager. I've always enjoyed the mixture of business, but also human interaction and the human aspect of getting things done. So that's my kind of end professional goal, ways to go there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nima. First of all, thank you, Carol and Rocio, for this wonderful panel. I graduated from WVU Tech in spring of 2020, and I was also in the class of 2019 for the Globalminded. That was back before the pandemic, and we did have it in person. It was wonderful. And after graduation, I had the great opportunity to be accepted with the Generation West Virginia program. And through that, I'm a fellowship right now, which means that I'm volunteering for nonprofit organizations within the state of West Virginia. And also I'm employed with the TC Energy company as an application developer.
What amazing backgrounds for each and every one of you. Starting with our first question, how did global-minded leadership experience impact your personal and professional trajectory? What's been the impact?
Rocio, I'll jump in there. So
Thank you.
with Globalminded, I had the fortune of my first mentor in HP being Norton Ewart, who actually happens to be Carol's husband. And that's how I was connected in with Carol. Globalminded emphasized the importance of a community, and a community that you can lean on and ask real questions to, and get some mentorship from. And that has really impacted personally. It's forced me to mentor more. Those, even as I mentioned earlier, including my own younger siblings that, maybe before Globalminded, I would just say, hey, do what you want, whatever feels good for you. But kind of instead taking a little bit more of a proactive mentor role there, as well as it's helped me professionally seek a community both within my organization as well as outside of my organization, and hold on to strong mentors that I have developed, particularly through Globalminded, actually, throughout the years.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amelia. That's one of the most extraordinary things, is to have a community that supports you. When one wins, we all win, and we all move at a cadence together. Beautiful. Who else would like to answer that question?
I would like to go second, and I can definitely agree with Amelia about mentorship. Not only I was very encouraged and inspired by other leaders and mentors at the conference, but that really encouraged me to become a mentor as well. And then after that whole conference, I did many summer programs for STEM camps for different students from before being students that were planning to go to college or even younger than in the middle school age, and those different kind of grades. And I was a mentor actually for those camps to help them and guide them to be more involved with STEM, and then hopefully get them more involved with different kinds of science and engineering. And that was very important. And I felt really important to be in that position. And I think that really that whole seed came to fruition from that whole conference. But also what I really thought it was very important as well was that after attending the conference, it really showed me that how freshman students are really capable to be great leaders. And I believe that it is part of because we know who we are and where we came from, and we do know that what our talents are. It just kind of needed that push to motivate us to go ahead and just do them.
Wonderful. The ripples of our impact, right? To be able to pay it forward. Connor.
I want to just bring those two together, I think, and my answer is just that sense of community and support that comes through the conference and being able to network and meet all these different people in different ventures of their lives or totally different career paths than what you want to choose. But I think that network coupled with the challenge like of mentoring and all these new opportunities, it's really helped push myself and others who I've connected with at the conference series to really go beyond what we thought we were capable of doing and set like a really strong foundation that we're always able to come back on and find support in, as well as come to the conference and continue to challenge ourselves and grow further and more in depth.
Wonderful. Thank you. Betty.
I think personally, the conference showed me the importance of like being a first generation college student, because I didn't really think that much of it. And like, I didn't really expect how hard it would be. So kind of like talking to other people, I could like actually put like a name on what I was feeling or kind of like the unique struggles that we go through. And I think professionally, it was really helpful and like actually really pivotal, because I attended the conference after my sophomore year. So like the sophomore year summer. And I remember I was feeling really down because like I didn't get a good internship that I wanted. And like I felt really encouraged by all the people at the conference. And I was able to network with so many people and even like meet up with them, or maybe they knew somebody in DC. So that really helped me get my intern, like a really good internship the next year that turned into a full-time job. So professionally, it's helped me a lot, but also personally, I feel like I have a better community.
Wonderful. Thank you. And that leads us into our next question. Now that you're a working professional, how do you continue to engage the Global-Minded network to further your goals at this stage?
I think the biggest way that I can right now is trying to give back to what Global-Minded has given me, being a part of different programs and promoting them, especially. But this last year, I was a part of the Every Learner Everywhere ambassador program that you all put on, and have also been able to mentor a couple people as well as be mentored, and coming back and speaking for these different panels and such. I think that's where I'm at.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, I would really believe that giving back is very important, because what we really learned during these conferences really helped us shape who we are right now. And I remember that we had one panel, I think it was during 2020, with the entire quarantine and the situation. And that was a very impactful panel that we had, because I think few of us were some of the students that had attended the conferences, and then some of the students were the ones that were going to school still and haven't graduated with yet. And it was just so interesting to learn about their perspective and the troubles they were having, and then sharing my perspective and other leaders that were on the panel to help them guide them through and motivate them through the issues they were having. And of course, every day we have challenges, but back in 2020 as a student, there were a lot more challenges, just working and also like doing all the schoolwork online, and some students just didn't have access to computers and internet access. So different kind of solutions that we came up, I think that was very important. So I think any kind of a situation that comes up that I can give back to the students through the Global-Minded, I would be happy to do so.
Wonderful. The power of the mastermind and sharing a unique experience. Amelia?
Yeah, so well, first of all, anytime I see Carol on my phone or in my email, I'm like, the answer is yes. Whatever you need, I'm here, because I don't feel like I can give back enough to thank her for the confidence that Global-Minded has given me. I think professionally, I try to carry Global-Minded throughout my day-to-day by opening up conversations, encouraging our hiring processes to be more diverse, asking to participate on hiring panels so that I can take what I've learned from Global Minded and use that as I'm interviewing potential candidates, and really elevating and raising awareness to the additional strength that you gain from first generation students going into the workforce, and how resilient we really are. So I think taking that messaging and using it as a powerful tool in my personal career and using that to kind of infiltrate the organization has been how I continue to carry the Global Minded torch around.
Wonderful. Impact.
Currently, I'm a fellow at the Clinton Global Initiative, and for my project, I'm working on like first generation students college access at my local high school. So I feel like I can really directly apply what I learned at Global Minded, or even directly reach out to Global Minded or the people that I've met through there to help my project and like develop it. And I also, since I still communicate with like the people that like led the workshops, like I was able to lead a workshop last summer and I was so nervous, but I'm like glad because like it pushed me too, and like I learned other skills from that.
That's wonderful. Thank you. What advice would you give to first generation leaders, college freshmen and rising sophomores to make the most out of the Global Minded experience in reference to securing internships, opportunities to network and grow professionally?
I can kick that one off. I would say own your narrative. You already know who you are and where you came from, and there's a reason why you're here, and that's wonderful. And your reason is going to be different than the person next to you, or it could be similar. But if you own your narrative, that is really going to set you apart from others, and it's going to make a lasting impact on the people that you talk to. And it will help you forge relationships that are true to your nature and can benefit you as well as the other person in the relationship, by owning your narrative from the beginning.
Amelia, give us an example of what it means to own your narrative. How
Yeah.
specifically do you own it?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, I think before Global Minded, I kind of struggled with what narrative to own. Who was I? Was I a Lebanese American? Was I a first generation student? Was I a female? Which narrative did I want to own? And going to Global Minded made me realize that my narrative included all of those. I was a first generation female Lebanese American student. And each aspect of that narrative created an individualism that helped me create a unique experience with my mentors and mentees, and draw on those past experiences to help better benefit the relationships that I was able to create at Global Minded. It also helped me be authentic in the sense of what I learned is if I lead with just one part of my narrative, I just say I am a first generation student, then I am depriving the female in a tech industry aspect, and I'm depriving the Lebanese American dual background aspect. And those also bring very strong experiences and perspectives to the table. And I hate to kind of mute those voices by only focusing on one category. So no matter how complex or off page you think your narrative is, that's what's going to bring the diversity and uniqueness to the table and create a more enriching experience.
And that's wonderful, Amelia. Thank you so much for sharing that. As I see owning all of me, when we bring all of us to the table, whatever it is, it is, for me, it's Latina. I was a single mother, teenage runaway. Okay, I'm a runaway. I was a runaway teenage mother who had a 6th grade education, middle school dropout. Can't even take much credit for that. As a single mother making, and I can bring all of that. What does it mean to bring my strengths into every aspect of what I'm doing? What are the gifts inside of the diversity of thought for somebody who's lived specific experiences, and we all have unique experiences as first-gen leaders and as individuals. How do I bring all of that to the table? And to me, it's bringing the whole human everywhere we go.
Yeah, and Rocio, you probably, if we deprive ourselves of elevating a piece of our whole identity, then we may leave out unintentionally some of our audience who is already struggling to see, do I fit here? Is this right? Do I belong here? I already feel like I don't belong in other spaces. And by bringing our whole selves, we remind others that yes, you do fit here.
And we're always fit. We always fit here. And that's the most important thing. I think if I could tell my younger self something, that would be it. To be vulnerable earlier. It's one thing to feel vulnerable, and the other thing is to be vulnerable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Feeling vulnerable is feeling under attack. Like somebody's going to judge me. I'm not going to fit in here. And we all have that story. We all have that chatter on the background of what's actually happening. Yet the reality is that people really connect through our authenticity to say, oh, wow, Amelia went through that experience. You know, she's also felt similar things that I've felt. Maybe our experiences are not quite the same, yet we can relate on that. We both have our own story. We have our own journey. We have everything that we can learn from. Wonderful. Who would like to go next?
I can go next. I would probably say that just always be open for new experiences. And seems like everybody in the panel are also pointing out that each of us know our true selves and where we come from and our talents and our skills. And there's always going to be challenges whenever you go through a new experience. And I mean, I would just want to go back to 2020, but like if I would go back in whenever I was attending the conference in 2019, someone would come tell me that, hey, in 2020, you're going to go through all these kind of, things from personal to everything that would go through, and challenges that would come by. I would never believe them, but like, there's always going to be a previous version of ourselves that is going to be so proud of us, that how far we have come and how much we have learned. And so through every challenge, I feel like there's going to be something to learn, and being open to these challenges and experiences is part of what brings and kind of builds our own personal character.
And how have you taken your personal experiences to connect with others?
Yes, I think the connection with different kind of people at the conference was very important, because I got to meet with people like you and Carol that were really inspiring, but also I got to meet with people that from different people that actually worked in different regions of STEM and computer science and the engineering, and also one of the researches that I did as a bachelor in my BS, while I was getting my BS at Tech, was in the augmented reality technologies, and that completely branched off from the Globalminded, because I got to meet some people that worked in that field, and I got to use some of their technology. I mean, just try out some of their goggles and everything, and I was so inspired that I wanted to pursue something in this field. So I think the whole connection at the conference was just absolutely amazing. And I've been to different panels, I've been to different smaller kind of groups for STEM, but I feel like what I experienced in 2019 was just kind of like the building blocks of what I learned, and what inspired me to go through college and afterwards.
Wonderful. Thank you. Connor?
Go ahead, Betty.
No, it's okay. You can go.
I think, kind of going back to that theme of connecting with people, I think the biggest advice I would give would be to just talk to everyone. Based off everyone's story, you don't know anything about anyone or what brought them to the Globalminded conference or why, and just talk, get to know people. Going back to that, be vulnerable, express yourself, but also ask people about themselves. I think the biggest thing you can do is make a network for yourself, especially at a young age. And just being able to know someone will take you so much further, even if they don't remember you very well. Be personable, be charismatic, be confident, and just use all those things to your advantage. This is a mass. You're marketing yourself. You're always marketing yourself for whatever endeavor you want to take on next. And just remembering that and bringing that authentic self to the table, like we were saying.
How specifically have you marketed yourself, or did you market yourself throughout the conference? And what would you do differently in addition to in the future as we come back to 2022, we'll be live again?
Right. I think just being personable and transparent about who I was, like we were saying, I'm a really rather outgoing person. I will come up to anyone and start a conversation about the weather or whatever, all the way to social injustice and whatever's going on in politics that morning. That's who I am, and that's who I'm going to bring to the conversation. And I would do that the exact same now, but I would make sure to follow up with people and add them or keep their contact, add them on LinkedIn. I know I added, Rocio, I had you since we met, but I didn't connect with everyone as I should have. And that's the one thing I would change and go back, is just make sure I have a way to connect with these people and let them know what I'm doing, but also stay informed on what they're up to. And you never know what that might bring. You may cross paths again and be working on the same project, or you might find yourself wanting to work on whatever they're working on and reaching out and asking if you can help and, develop your own opportunities.
Building your confidence one step at a time. Take it action. Betty.
Or personally, I think the advice that I would give to, the freshmen and sophomores that are watching is that like nobody at your school is like better than you. And it's not like, I think as a first generation college student, maybe like you come from a low income family, or you don't have parents or family members that can relate to you or help you, or, there's just a lot of things that come with being a first generation student. And if you're like me, like I felt so down. I was like, I had a lot of imposter syndrome, and I thought that I was just at the George Washington University because of affirmative action, because I was like, oh, like these are the reasons why I got accepted to this school. But when you realize that like nobody is better than you, and like every student like deserves to be there, and every student filled out the same exact application, then I feel like you will be more empowered to try things out. So along with that, I would say to apply to as many internships as you can, and regularly attend information sessions and like networking, so you can learn about different careers and education programs.
Betty, what was one of the scariest things that you did as you were stepping out of the comfort zone? You're dealing with imposter syndrome. And by the way, the vast majority of people deal with imposter syndrome in their career. There's roughly 70+% at one point or another, and it can happen for any reason. It can be the Superman, Wonder Woman, the workaholic, the whatever. There's many different ways and forms that it comes out. What was the most difficult thing that helped you grow as an individual when you took that action? You're like, maybe I'm not sure if I should take it, and I took it. And here are the rewards afterwards.
Okay, it sounds silly in retrospect, but I was really scared to be an econ like minor or just study it, because you had to take calculus, and I was really bad at math. So I was like, I cannot like take calculus. Like I did not like in my high school was really bad. So we were always behind in math, and like there was like a lot of like gaps in my education in terms of like STEM in general. So, and like everyone in my class already took like calc in high school. So I was just like so nervous. And then like I took calc, and like the worst thing for me was to get a C in calc. And then like I got a C in calc. And like at first, like I was so like, I was like, my world, my sun and moon have left. But I don't know, I just realized like if that was the worst that was gonna happen, like it's fine. And like obviously like I still passed the class, and like I still finished my minor, and like in the higher level classes I actually was doing really well and would get A's in those classes. So I'm just glad that I like pushed through that. And I don't know, it was always very daunting, even like the intro econ classes, but I knew it was something that I wanted to do and like I wanted to have as a skill. So I think, pushing myself through that and be like, it's okay, even if like I have the worst grades in the class, like I'm helping everyone get the curve, like I will still make it out, and I will still, learn what I need to learn.
Who are you as a result of that experience now?
I think I'm a person that is like much more comfortable with like failing or just like trying new things, even if I'm not already good at them.
And that's fascinating, right? Because nobody told us that failure is part of success. And if we've never failed, maybe we've never really tried anything that was worth trying for us, right? And I know as an entrepreneur, I've failed over and over again, and I've gotten up. And I remember even being in university, being 15 years old, the first time when I was knocking on the Community College of Denver's doors, and they said, Rocio, you're too young. And my response was, I want to become a teacher. Here's where I want to be. And I continue to ask, how else can I make it? They're like, well, your parents need to sign. Well, they're not going to sign. I haven't seen them for 3.5 years and they have no desire to see me. How else can I come into university? Well, you need to be 16. They need to sign. Well, there must be another way. And I was like this little rebel. How many of you have ever been that little rebel? Like, I'm going to go for this dream no matter what, even if our family doesn't stand behind us. How many of you can relate to that, right? Like, I was that little rebel and I said, okay, how else can I do this? And I found out that the one way I can go through was emancipation, the one thing that I can do. At the age of 15, it was the biggest word I knew, emancipation, the biggest word I heard at that moment. And 30 days later, because I knocked on those doors and I continued to ask people over and over again until someone gave me a response, I divorced my parents. And I went on to university, right? That there's who we become as a result of being resilient and knowing that, yes, maybe the way we asked didn't work, or maybe the way that we think it's supposed to work doesn't work. And then we continue to go forward and find, like Connor and everyone's mentioned, find that mentor, that person that can lead the way, that person that's been there, that person that is, when we're inside of a community where we can ask those questions. And I know that each of you feel safe in the global-minded community, that you can ask any question, no matter what the question is, right? And then you can continue to move forward. And speaking of that, I'd love to connect about what was your greatest fear? I know, thank you for sharing that, Betty. I want to go to Amelia and see, what was your greatest fear and how did you transcend it and who did you become afterwards?
Yeah, so let's see. When I started college, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I liked business and I knew I was good at it. Like, it was something that I could do, I could enjoy, and I would be good at it. And who doesn't like doing something that they're good at? But when I got asked to interview for HP, I almost turned it down because I was like, I am not technical. I don't know, what an SSD is and an HDD and an SD and all these things that you guys are asking me. I have no idea. But I went ahead and interviewed anyways. And kind of tapping back to my previous comment, I sustained a fabulous mentor, Norton. And, I just said, hey, I'm going to ask the stupid questions because I really think I could be good at this. And so I did. I asked the stupid questions. At the time, I was fortunate enough to be early on in my education at UNC. So my parents were like, you're crazy. You're doing this for one company. But I actually added a whole nother major in computer science just so that I could learn more about what I was starting to find this passion in. And it's completely paid off because it's been almost 10 years. And I have never spent this long in one place, one house, one location, let alone one company. And I think just leaning into something that I was not good at and saying, instead of kicking myself while I was down and continuing to tell myself, you're not good at technology, you don't understand this aspect, I instead found out what I needed to learn about it and who I could rely on to help me get there. And then I decided to kind of lean on what I was good at. I was good at business. I was good at strategy. I was good at thinking through products and customer experiences. So working at a company where just about everybody else seems to be fabulous at technology, it was okay that I didn't have that skill as fine-tuned as they did. And so I think that was my biggest fear that I had to overcome. And it's gotten me literally to this job today, where now I get to tell people what SSD and HDD I want.
What an amazing growth to take that experience and grow and learn from it, and now be the one who gets to be that contributor to others. Who would like to go next?
I can go next, volunteer for this question. But I think I can kind of relate to Amelia's too, because mine was the element of self-doubt in college, because so I was doing good in all the classes for the information systems major, but I couldn't really see myself work at a position that was all about programming and just being in that kind of like a tech position. Because it seemed like for some reason in my head, seemed like all these, like working on these programs is going to be very complicated and confusing, and that maybe I need to pick up like new languages, all these kind of elements that would come after another. And I remember when I started working as an application developer, the first month I was always just so confused, and I didn't really accept this whole position in my head, because I just always thought that it's going to be really hard. But I think once you really accept and you truly see your skills and actually agree to learn more, I think that's where everything just falls. Everything just gets together, because there's always going to be something that we don't know. And obviously, going to college gives us that basic fundamental, but we have to keep building every day, every year. We're learning every second of our life. So being always open to learn more really taught me to just forget about the whole self-doubt mechanism.
Thank you. Connor.
I think that the biggest fear that I overcome was probably that I didn't know what I wanted to do or what path I want to go down. And meeting the people at Globalminded, if they were at the conference, or people who worked the conference, you met everybody in any kind of field. Like, I am very much not confident in STEM. I don't know anything about the STEM field. I'm not good at it. I'm a people person. That's why I'm in social work. But even in my profession, I still don't know to this day. I don't know what path I want to pursue, where I want to go. And I think that was the biggest thing I overcome, is knowing that it's okay to not know where I want to go. Growing up in a small area, everyone was like, there wasn't very many options to do. You joined a union, you went to the power plant, or you worked at a local hospital, and there wasn't much in between. So from a young age, you kind of knew what you were going to do and what was expected of you, so on and so forth. But then coming to college, I was just expanded to so many different opportunities. And through Global, I've really learned that I don't have to rein in everything that I want to do. I can try and dip my toes in all the different ponds and challenge myself and grow and, pursue passions on the side from whatever my day-to-day is, and try and make my passions my day-to-day. And I don't think I would have come to that realization as early if it wasn't for Global.
And that's wonderful, right? Fast tracking our success. And thinking about it, it's like taking a vehicle. We get to take a superjet to success. What does that look like? What did you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey prior to Globalminded, that Globalminded has provided, that has taken you to where you wanted to be even faster?
I think that's a great question. I think there's not really a definite answer. I think it comes with just the combination of everything that it provided, with the community, with the network. It wasn't one distinct thing that helped me get to that place. It was the experience, it was the meeting, it was being able to present on these panels, it was just the cultivation of all of it helping me fast track that.
Okay, wonderful. The question is, what has Globalminded provided that has helped you fast track your success on that?
Provided, I think, sorry, I've misinterpreted that
Oh,
one.
you actually answered it perfectly as well, and you can answer that
Okay.
part of it as well too.
I'll dive in again then. I think it was just a platform really to present myself and also explore who I am at the same time. Like, I presented part of myself, but I also learned an immense amount about who I was through the conference and the different educational opportunities that it's provided. And we're constantly changing, just like the world's evolving, we're evolving to adapt to it. So I think, that's where it's at. It helped me learn about myself as much as I learned, as much as I could.
It's extraordinary. Betty.
For me personally, I think it was a lot of resources that Globalminded gave me in terms of like going to the newsletter and like, going to panels or networking with people. I think really things of that nature, or just like even what I learned from those workshops, I still have like my notes from a few years ago. So definitely the resources and the community.
And that can move you fast. I know back in the day, and this was 30 years ago, when I was knocking on that university door and wanting to go into school. And when I did make it into school, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. And I had no idea. I felt like an imposter. And I know you mentioned that previously, Betty, like that sense of feeling like we're an imposter. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. And this was me walking around. I don't feel safe. I don't know who to ask questions to. I don't know if any of you can relate to any of that, where I feel like I'm the only one who may not know this. And then all of a sudden to really get it that today things are different, that there are organizations like Globalminded that can help you fast track your success, that people that you can ask, mentors, a safe space to ask any question, whatever the question may be, and how important it is to be able to constantly stay in communication. So we're going to move on over to Nima.
Yes, I feel like I keep repeating these words over and over in every question, but I feel like inspiration and motivation were like two main things that I learned from that conference, and also they really kind of boosted my confidence to actually ask those questions from the professionals around me and to learn more about their field, but also ask questions of myself about like what am I interested in, like what am I pursuing, why am I pursuing, and all these questions that really help me to you can never fully know what your future path is going to be, but it can kind of at least know the basic structure of it, and that may be sometimes enough, because that can lead you and motivate you to just pursue your goal. And I think if I would summarize it, motivation and inspiration were like the two main things that I took from the conference.
And that's extraordinary when we can see that our inspiration grows, where our confidence grows, when we're taking courageous actions to begin with, right? Because it calls us to be someone who is even more courageous. We're building our confidence, expanding our vision into what's possible. And then energetically through that inspiration, we're like, wow, now we get to prepare ourselves and see ourselves in the future that we want to be. And here we are now. This was a dream years ago. And here you are today, very different place. Amelia?
I would say confidence. So kind of leaning on imposter syndrome, I'm sure many of you guys can relate to. Something I've found typical in first generation students is that we're always going somewhere. We never feel like we've arrived. We're always trying to figure out what can we do next, what can we do better, what we can improve. How do we get rid of the imposter syndrome? By doing more, by being more. And I remember in 2015 at Globalminded, and there was a barbecue at Carol's office for the students. And we were standing there, and I remember feeling extremely nervous and very tense. And I couldn't tell you who it was, but somebody came up to me and said, "Congratulations." And I'm like, oh no, like they're mistaking me for somebody. I have not done anything. And so I'm kind of trying to apologize, like, I don't think you know who I am. I haven't done anything. And they're like, no, congratulations for being here, for experiencing this. And I think that has always stuck with me because it reminded me to be confident in that, yes, I am here. I'm at this amazing conference. I have this opportunity to meet amazing people. I don't have to worry about or be tense about what I'm not doing, but instead be confident in what I have done, what I have accomplished, and what has brought me here. So I would say for me, my key takeaway was confidence and owning where you have come already.
And that's extraordinary right there, Amelia, to really own it, to own, to have that confidence, to look at, to show up.
Yeah.
Just to show up. And to know that when you show up in a community like Global Minded, that people are here to help you along the way. Whether that is academically, help you figure out how to get through it, or whether that's professionally, preparing yourself for the professional world, or even when you're already in the professional world, to support you. What does that journey look like for you? All extraordinary things. I love the fact that we keep on talking about confidence and inspiration and support and community. Community, I can't say that enough. Community, community, community. And that's where we get to be together. And speaking of that, what are your final insights right here? And I'm going to ask Carol in a moment questions, because this is her brainchild here, and we're very excited to hear your insights in a moment, Carol. First, we're going to go over to now our professionals. You know, what are your final insights right now to become a powerful, inclusive, global-minded leader, as each of you are?
I can go first. I would just say that just trust yourself, and as you network with professionals, always be open to have new conversations, because those are the moments when great ideas and connections will form.
To network, wonderful, and have those conversations, right? The network. And we can't stress that enough. I know professionally, I have people come up to me who've never networked. They've been in their professions 15, 20 years. Rocio, now I need a job. And my idea is, I hope I can help you, right? Because it may take some time if you haven't developed any relationships. It will take some time for people to get to know who you are. The best time to build them is now. The best time to build them is when we're a student, and continue to hone in and nurture those relationships throughout your career, because you never know. I know that at any given point in time, Carol and I can pick up the phone and in 5 minutes have some of our most pressing questions answered, right, Carol, because of the network, and which would take people months, if not years, to get those same questions answered. We get to fast track that because of the relationships and the network on that. Amelia.
So I would say my final insights, and I love saying this to anybody that asks, it would be check your headline. If your goal is to be an inclusive, empowering leader, always check your headline. If whatever action you are about to make or whatever statement you're about to say gets printed on the front page of your local newspaper tomorrow, will you be proud of that print? And will you welcome the calls and the messages from friends and family that see it? If the answer is no, then you're probably not making a decision or an action that is putting you on the path to becoming an inclusive and empowering leader.
Wow, that is so powerful, right? When you can see yourself in that headline, when you know that you speak by intention, with intention, and to know that there's going to be an impact. Would I say this now?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Would I share this now? So impactful, right? Because we're either responding or reacting to the world. And it's great to be intentional about who we are and what we're doing and what we represent, because everything has an impact.
Absolutely.
Betty.
For me, I would say learn how to advocate for yourself. So there's lots of resources out there, lots of people who are willing to help you, but you have to make that first step of like asking for help. And, it's sometimes scary or like a tumbling, or you might be, worried because you're not good at something, but you need to ask for help.
Wonderful. Thank you. Connor.
I think mine would probably be know your limits. You can take on too many things. You can, and it's very mentally tasking and detrimental. But also know your limits from the standpoint of, this is where I'm comfortable. How can I get past this spot of comfortability and push myself to the next step further? So just being able to gauge where you want to go and gauge how to get there, and take the time to recognize the steps that's going to take for you to do. So we have our comfort zone, we have our bubble. We don't need to step out of our comfort zone to grow, but we do need to push it. You don't need to be completely uncomfortable and immerse yourself into something incredibly challenging, but take the steps accordingly to push yourself towards that challenge.
And that's a wonderful way of putting it there, Connor, as we continue to move the comfort zone. To me, it's an ever-moving comfort zone. It's movable, and I move it every day. How do we move it here now every single day, that at the end of a year, we have become that person that we've been wanting to become, right? Who we are now. Here's one of the misconceptions that I come across a lot in my coaching practice. A lot of people say, okay, Rocio, this is who I want to be, and it's so scary, and I don't know this, and I don't know that. Well, even I don't know this, and I don't know that. Like, who I want to become 5 years from now, I'm not right now. I'm in the process of becoming. We are always in the process of becoming. And when we get that who I am now is not who I must be later on, and I can't learn it all in one, right? It took us years to get through school. Even if we were to go into a buffet, let's assume we go to a party, there's a beautiful buffet, there's only so much we can eat. And to take a look and decipher and say, okay, this is what I want to enjoy this time. Or maybe we go to another party and we get to enjoy that, or whatever that is, that we take it one step at a time. We continue to move our comfort zone. We continue to challenge ourselves and be with ourselves right now. Now, I'd love to turn it over to Carol. And Carol, this has been an amazing dream of yours that we all get to enjoy and connect with. And as a result of the amazing work that you've done throughout the years, we're here now. What is your vision for moving forward?
Well, I think it's a collective vision, because it's not just my vision. We're just a really amazing network of all kinds of people, and we really do come together as a group of really inclusive leaders. But I think that the biggest vision we have is we'd like to see in the next decade millions of inclusive leaders that are like the people like each of you. And we know that can change the world so much. That can solve climate change. That can solve all of our social injustices. That can, reverse hundreds of centuries of racism. It can cure problems and issues that we don't even know we have yet, because that is the power of people who are fully connected, fully motivated, and using their gifts and talents in the best possible way in which they are creative and capable and joyful. And I think that's, we have this bold goal that at 2025, or before the year 2025, we want to be able to algorithmically connect 25 million, first-gen students and diverse students, graduates, and those who want to hire them, to role models, mentors, experiences. Like Connor's working right now on virtual global internships. Those are really cool experiences that can broaden your world. and jobs, and not just jobs that you get a degree and you go get a job, but like jobs that are going to allow you all to be those decision makers, to run for that government office that you're talking about, Connor, to be promoted a few times as Amelia has, to, Betty and doing the Clinton Global Initiative and the other kinds of things you're going to do now, KPMG, and Nima, in your work, where you are working with such, ethical standards in STEM and keeping people safe and doing the right thing over maybe just people being motivated by profits. So I just get motivated because I think we've just scratched the surface. We've had some 600 and some, students since Amelia's class. But I know with technology, we can make those connections so much more readily. And we're very blessed right now to be working with the data science team at Salesforce to build the platform for that technology. We were chosen by the Microsoft alums to have them be the mentors of our students that we're working with this summer. And we're working with people from the Stanford MBA, different classes to also be mentors. So there's so many different people who are connecting, who want to help students that are watching this right now. And really the students you all were before you could see the arc of time, how things unfold when you're there with an open heart, just to go out there and connect and to face your fears, work through them, and create those opportunities. So that's what I'd say is not my vision, but kind of our vision for our leadership, which really represents, each and every one of you.
So wonderful. Thank you so much, Carol. We are coming to a close here in a moment. Just final words of where are you going? Where will you be 10 years from now, Betty? And what impact will we read about Betty in the headlines?
For me, I hope that in 10 years that I'm like financially stable, and I think working for like an international organization that combines like business and international affairs, but makes it like sustainable is really my goal. When people ask me like the 10-year question, I always like freak out. I'm like, I don't know. But I think I can't give you like a specific career, what I want to do, but I know that that's the type of work that I want to do.
Okay. You know that you want to make an impact. Wonderful. Thank you. Connor.
I think in 10 years, I just believe I'm going to be happy, because in 10 years, I'm going to do what I said, and I'm going to make my passions what I'm doing day to day. And that's trying to pave the way for the one behind me, who's coming behind me, whatever generation, person, whatever that might be. And that's my goal, is just to help whatever's next, to help whoever's next, set that foundation.
Wonderful. Setting that foundation, lead wherever you're at and do what you can wherever you're at. Wonderful. Amelia.
Professionally, in 10 years, I hope to be leading a global team that operates as ethically as possible. And personally, I hope to be proud of the role model that I've created for my own children.
Thank you. Nima.
To be honest, I feel like 10 years is a very long time, but I do
And
hope,
it'll go very fast.
yes, it would go like a flash, but I do hope that I will get to continue with the position that I'm passionate about for my career, but also be able to make an impact and give back to my community and make a positive impact for people and first generation students like me.
Wonderful. Well, I really want to acknowledge each and every one of you for your contributions. I want to acknowledge you for your strength. I want to acknowledge you for the fact that you kept on moving forward, asking questions, being involved in the communities, and being those courageous leaders that are leading the way, changing and impacting the course of humanity through your bold actions and through your confidence and courage. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an honor and a privilege to be part of your life here.
Thank you, Rocio.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, everybody. That was awesome. And I just want to share tomorrow's session and Friday's session. So for those of you who are watching, we hope you can join us at the same time, 4 o'clock Eastern time, the next couple days. Tomorrow, we have one of our executive council leaders, a gentleman named Kenneth Epps, who's the son of sharecroppers in South Carolina and went on to South Carolina State. Then he went to Stanford Business School, started 3 tech companies, and he's leading a panel that's called What Industry Leaders Look For in Students and Graduates They Hire. And he's got people from all different major businesses. There is a woman from KPMG, Betty, on there as well. And they're going to share, what are their inside secrets when they're in those interview situations about the kinds of qualities and things that they look for. And of course, one of the things we know about people who have struggled or overcome the odds or are first gen is that they have a wherewithal and a tenacity to succeed that is born out of difficulty. And so it makes them super strong. And I think you'll find that a really interesting session. And many of those people were also themselves, first in their family to go to college. So you can see their arc of time trajectory. And then on Friday, we have a session called First Gen Role Models. What does success, inclusive leadership, and continuous improvement, what does it look like? And there's actually going to be 7 panelists on that, but really amazing people. And we hope that you all can join us for that as well. So thank you for everything. And then I want to say, mark your calendars because we just signed our contract today with the hotel for next year. We will be in person. It'll be easy for you guys to remember because the opening session and the first gen leadership is on the pre-conference day, which is June 22nd, 2022. So the rest of the conference is on the 23rd and 24th, but you can't forget that because there's a lot of twos next year. So June and June 22nd. So we're looking forward to seeing all of you for that and really meeting all of you who are joining us virtually because you're making the most out of this opportunity in a virtual environment. And everyone is very much looking forward to meeting you personally and helping you in every way that they can. Thanks, everybody. It was really great to spend the last hour with you all. And thanks for just being such fabulous global-minded leaders and making the world better in so many ways.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Rocio.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Thank you all. Take care.